Hello and welcome. This video we're going to be taking a look at the Jem'Hadar Vanguard Support Carrier. We'll be looking at the Vanity shields available from the Dilithium store during certain events of the year, and the only shield available in the Zen store at the time of recording. In the description on the video you will find the shields listed in the chapters, so you can jump to the one that you're interested in. Also in the video description there will be links that I'll cover off at the end of the video. A couple of points just before we get started. This model is one of the ones where either by design or by error the parts don't line up logically, and neither do the effects. So, for example, we seem to have impulse engine effects on the wings and warp nacelle colouring on the inner part of the wing. So, bear that in mind. You'll note my frustration in my voice as we go through it. Also, the engine trails don't marry up either, unfortunately. So, it's not the most enthusiastic I've been in a video, shall we say. It's also been a while since I've done one of these videos, purely because I've had zero motivation of late to actually be in STO, doing anything in it at all. So this is a foray back into STO, which, depending on Deca, will either increase my gameplay or reduce it even further if that's possible, but that'll be covered in a channel update video in the future, no doubt. So without further ado, so the first shield, as always, is the Alliance Vanity shield. So this comes part of the Mutara Alliance bundle in the Zen store. The bundle itself has the shield, the Mutara Alliance uniform, and an upgrade. So let's have a look at the shield itself. So we've got this white pattern material, grey shading and gold shading. God, the servers even lag when I'm zooming in. So on the wings here we can see the orange plasma Bassard collector effect. Oh, that's cyan there, which might very well be the warp colouring effect there. See the same here. That's on both wings. Got what could be a deflector array, although it would make more sense to have it there than where it actually is, to be honest. So I'm going to zoom out. This is a very big ship. Then on the tip of the wings we've got the impulse engine effect. So that red, orange, yellow, white and black again. So again, that would have been more logical to have a warp nacelle effect there. Then we have the deflector colouring here at the rear. So of course you always want your deflector facing backwards, because why would you have it facing forwards, deflecting everything? Then the engines on the back here are the impulse engine colouring again. So we've got the red, orange, yellow and white effects there, so they do look really nice. And we'll just rotate up a bit here. With the light hitting off it, you can see that triangular pattern with the different hues on it. So again, that's standard effect of the Mutara Alliance ships. So as I've said before, there's a great bit of detail the art team were able to put in for the shield. I'll have to zoom right out to get a full view of the ship from the top. See, this is a big ship. But not so big as our captain, I believe. There you go. Star Trek 6 quotation, what more could you ask for? And then quick look at the engine trails off it, and it's the standard Federation ones here. So we have the blue nacelle colouring, which doesn't tie up with the effect that the engines are putting on, but no impulse trails. Moving on to the Dilithium store now. So this is a Safe Galaxy Refit Vanity shield. So this patterned grey hull material, almost like an urban camouflage. You can see the golden bazaar collector effect there. And same with that golden colour for the nacelles is there as well. And we have the golden impulse engine effects there on the tips of the wings. Again, the same golden impulse engine effects there with that green glow to them. Then we have the deflector effect here at the rear. God, the servers are that bad that I'm trying to rotate the ship and it's still lagging. I have to say that just that little bit of illumination there from the nacelle colouring does look really nice on the wings. And again, we're just more of the pattern effect from the shield on the underside there. So for the engine trails, again, so we've got the yellows there, which do marry up with the effect from the shield, and you'll notice the lighter yellow and the darker yellow, which is the normal effect as well. So unlike the Alliance one where it just had the one, this does have both engine effects to it. Next up is the Bow Vanity shield. So this is a very popular shield in the game. With this black hull material. See these red impulse engine effects here, and again that is my favourite impulse engine effect of all the shields at the moment. Just that lovely red. And to be perfectly honest with you, on this ship it looks angry with this shield on it. It really does. Then we have the cyan there for the bazaar collector effect. Same there for the nacelle colouring. At the rear again, got this red impulse engine effect. It does look like angry red eyes off some sort of a probe, perhaps, in other sci-fi films. It really does look quite nice. Then we have this cyan deflector effect here. Also got some white illumination and then more of the cyan there as well. I have a pause here and zoom in a bit. We can see this pattern effect etched into the hull material. So it does give the look of a bow vessel. As we rotate through to the underside and as the light hits it, we can see some more of that etched pattern within it. Then for the engine trails, unfortunately we've just got the blue warp nacelle colouring, so again that makes me think that all of these should have been the cyan, and then have the impulse engines at the rear, and they should have been red. So again, it's one of these ship models, either by error or by design, the incorrect effects have been applied. Next up is the Borg Vanity Shield. So slightly misleading, as this gives your vessel the look of a liberated Borg vessel, not in a normal Borg cube or sphere, etc. Do wish to rename it. So we have the grey hull material. As you can see, the pattern is made up of various shapes and sizes of hull plating. Then we have the blue Bussard collector there, and the blue there of the nacelle colouring. Then we can also see this black conduit material, and it's got some orange and faintly red lighting and some blue and some white lighting there. Then we have the blue impulse engine effect. So fortunately enough, in this shield all the engine effects are blue, so it does kind of work. Then we've got the blue pattern deflector there at the rear. Oh, some blue illumination there, and then this pattern material around the outer ring. Again, we can see some more of that conduit illumination material there on the underside. And more of that conduit material there at the rear of the front part of the ship. On the wings it looks quite stretched, not quite as tidy as it probably should be. Then the underside, we're just more of the patterned hull material there. And a faint touch there of the conduit material going on this lower spine. Now, normally this shield doesn't have any engine effects, so we'll engage the engines and have a look. And in this model, it's the same, no engine trails at all. Next up is the Courier Raider Vanity Shield. So not to be confused with the new Breen Courier Raider that was released in the Partners in Crime lockbox. So this is one of the older ones in the game, and you might want to turn down the brightness on your screen or put some sunglasses on just shortly, as this is going to get a bit bright. For the hull material, we've got this bare metal shading. Then we have white here for the impulse engine effect, very bright white there for the Bussard collector effect, and white also for the nacelle colouring. Then we see this black shading there of the hull material as well. It does have a bit of a nice pattern on it on this side. Then we have the white impulse engine effects again. And shock, white deflector array effect. And the white lighting there as well. As you can see already, when the light hits it, it's reflecting quite brightly. Again, you can see a very bright reflection there. And a wee bit of light leakage coming through here at the rear. But then again, it's just more of that bare metal material effect there on the underside. Then engine trail wise, oddly enough, they're blue, not white as one would expect. Again, we can see we're missing engine trails from here as well. Then we've also got this white flame effect going on coming off the impulse engine there. So we have the impulse engine effect with the warp nacelle trail and no impulse engine trail in this one. Next up is the Discovery Vanity Shield. So this is one of the shields in the game that does have different visual appearances depending on your faction alignment. So for Federation aligned characters, we are getting the look of Starfleet vessels in Season 1 of Discovery. So we have this two-tone grey patterned hull material, this red honeycomb impulse engine effect, what's this blue patterned facade collector effect there, then the blue nacelle colouring there as well. And we had the red impulse engine effect again here at the rear. And then the facade collector effect. In this case it's looking very blue, whereas normally it's a white with blue spoke effect. So that's what we've got there. Then we've got this blue and white lighting as well at the rear of that. Seem to have a bit of forced purple illumination there as well. And the underside's more of that two-tone grey patterned hull material and a bit of this red illumination here at the rear. Now for the engine trails off of this one, they are white. So for whatever reason they gave the Courier Raider one the normal Federation one, and they gave the Discovery one white engine trails. So again, they don't marry up with the normal shield effect anyway, and they're definitely not marrying up with the effect off of this ship model either, since we've still got the centre engines getting no trails at all. And here we have the Discovery Vanity shield on a KDF aligned character. So with this brown patterned hull material, this white and yellow patterned impulse engine effect here at the sides. We have the red with the pulsating white for the facade collectors. Then we have the orange, yellow and white elliptical shapes there of the nacelle pattern. And then we can see the details of the pattern effect on the shield there. Then at the rear, again, I've got that yellow and white pattern effect there for the impulse engines. Then we have the orange, yellow and white patterned deflector there, slightly off centre. Then we have the facade collector colouring there just at the back of the deflector. Then on the underside it's more of the same patterned hull material there. And at the rear here we have some of this orange illumination. Then for the engine trails in this one, they are white, which does marry up with the effect the shield would have on most other ship models. And here we have the Discovery Refit Vanity shield. So we've got the darker two-tone grey hull material in this one. Got the red impulse engine effect there. Got a white patterned facade collector effect there as well. Then the blue and white of the nacelle colouring. the rear we've got this blue and white patterned deflector effect there. On the white lighting at the rear. More of the red impulse engine effects there also. Then on the side again, just more of that two-tone dark grey hull material, and that bit of red illumination there at the rear. Then for the engine trails in this one, they would marry up with the correct visual effects of the shield for the engines. So the almost very light blue and white there, and this orangey red for the impulse engines. Next up, it's the emerald chain. It's a excessively long name here, Vanity shield. So we've got this greyish brown hull material, then this yellowish white for the impulse engine effect. Same there for the nacelle colouring and also the Bizarre collectors. Then we've also got this patterned hull material as well. And you can see the different shading in the patterns there on the rest. This white and grey pattern deflector effect there, and that yellowish white there for the impulse engines. The same lighting here as well. Then again, just more of that patterned effect, that greyish brown hull material, and then that patterned sections there as well. So engine trail wise, exactly the same as the Discovery refits for reasons unknown. Again, this should have been more a yellowish white across the board. Here we have the Emperor's Vanity shield. Got the cyan impulse engine effect there. Then we have this yellowish orange for the cell colouring. Same there for the Bizarre collector colouring. Now we've got this grey hull material with some purple shading. Then we have the orange pattern deflector array there. This orange illumination at the back of it. More of that cyan impulse engines effect there at the rear. And we see quite a bit of that purple shading there on the wings. Then up here as well. Then on the underside, whilst it's hidden from the light source, you can see this blue dot illumination. So that is throughout the full hull material. It is mimicking the starfield effect from behind the ship there. But then as the light hits it, back to the grey and the touches of purple. And then we've actually got a bit of a blue illumination here at the rear on this shield. Then engine trail wise, it would marry up correctly with the shield had the engine effects been correct in this model. So there's your nacelle colouring and then the impulse colouring there. So the real reason the Dominion War broke out was after the Jem'Hadar met the Ferengi did this to one of their ships with their Vanity shield. So we have the orange hull material that we see on the Ferengi vessels in the TV shows. With some gold shading there as well. Then we have the yellow for the impulse engine effect, slightly lighter, brighter yellow there for the Bassard collectors, and again the lighter, brighter yellow there for the nacelle effect. As we look at the rear, so again that yellow impulse engine effect there. This yellow patterned reflector array effect, and the slightly lighter yellow there at the back of it. And we can see for this angle what bits of rivet detail scattered throughout the hull material. And on the underside, more of that orange hull material. Some touches of grey shading there. And again, you see some of that rivet detail here on the underside. And then for the engine trails in this one, they are correct for the shield, and as all the engines are very similar colour, it does tend to work okay on this particular model. Next up, we are looking at the Hur'q Vanity shield. So I suppose this could be viewed as the Dominion's attempt to camouflage itself against the Hur'q. So it's quite a bit of detail on this shield. So first off, we've got the green and brown hull material. Then we also have this illuminated green material as well. And then we can see here this black shading giving a textured look to the hull material also. Then we have the green impulse engine effect there. And the green Bassard collector effect. And this is actually the green nacelle effect there as well. It's kind of hard to distinguish between that and the patterned hull material there. And that shading effect and that textured look along there as well is quite nice. And again, we've got the green impulse engine effect there with that green illuminated pattern effect behind it. And we have this green patterned deflector array effect there. Some green illumination there at the back of it as well. Then the underside, again, more of the green and brown hull material, with some more of that shading, giving that textured look as well. Then the engine trails in this one are, for reasons unknown, yellow. We've got this green engine effect throughout the shield, yet the engine trails are still yellow. So here we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield. So like Discovery 1, the visual appearance does change depending if you're Federation aligned or Klingon aligned. So for Federation aligned, you get the appearance of the Federation starships in the first reboot film. So we've got this grey patterned hull material. We have this orange patterned impulse engine effect. This god awful Bizarre collector effect in this particular shield. It's meant to mimic that of the USS Kelvin in the first film, and there's very few ships in the game that this actually works on, and this isn't one of them. Then we have this blue and white nacelle colouring effect. One thing I did notice in this one, if I zoom in too much, we suddenly have purple shading there, so that's a bit of a visual bug on this particular one. Rear, somehow we've got this blue glow appearing with this orange impulse engines. Then with this blue patterned deflector array, which is meant to mimic that of the Enterprise in the reboot film. Then we've got some white illumination there at the back of it. Again, on the underside, it's just more of that grey shaded hull material. So for the engine trails in this one, again, it's always showing the warp trails for this. Normally you'd have the blue with the orange for the impulse engines, but it's not happening on this one, unfortunately. And here we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield on a Klingon aligned character. Look at this red honeycomb impulse engine effect on the tips of the wings there. Then we have the yellow Bizarre collector effect. And then this blue and grey honeycomb pattern effect there of the nacelle colouring. We have the various shades of green for the hull material, and you can see some touches of grey shading as well. Then we have the red impulse engines again here at the rear with this blue glow effect. This lovely red patterned deflector array there. And then the yellow illumination here at the back of it. And right behind the deflector, it's all blacked out on this one. And on the underside again, it's just more of that various shades of green for the hull material. And then for the engine trails in this one, it's just the standard Federation one that's been applied. So the blue warp nacelle colouring, which doesn't marry up at all on this model or the engine effects. Here we have the Prodigy Vanity Shield. This lovely grey hull material with this pattern effect we'll take a look at in a moment. We have the red impulse engines there. We have the blue there for the nacelle colouring. Then this blue and white for the Bizarre collectors. And there we can see that pattern effect there with the darker grey. At the rear, again, we've got that red impulse engine go there. We have this very bright white and yellow and orange deflector pattern with some blue illumination there at the back of it. And the other side is just that nice grey hull material. And for the engine trails in this one, again, they do marry up with the effect that the shield would have had the engine effects been correct on this ship. Next up is another popular shield in the game, and this is the Section 31 Vanity shield. So you see this two-tone hull material with this straight material there as well. Then we have the red honeycomb for the impulse engine effect, the cyan blue there of the nacelle effect. The Bizarre collector effect on this particular shield is that it is blacked out. In this case, it's got a sort of cyan border around it, but it's still blacked out in the centre. I've always thought Section 31 was supposed to be stealth in the shadows, so I always thought the hull material should be more of a light absorbing matte black. Now with the red impulse engine effect there at the rear, we have the cyan blue pattern deflector there. Then the lights at the back are blacked out. And the underside, it's just that two-tone hull material. Touch of red illumination there at the rear. Engine effects would marry up with the correct engine effects being applied to the ship model. And again, we've got two Banks engines there, just don't have any engine trails at all. Next up, we're looking at the Shrike Vanity shield. We have this rusty orange shading for the hull material with this burgundy and grey shading as well. Then we have this orange and red patterned impulse engine effect. The orange nacelle effects there. And this orange and white Bizarre collector effect. And at the rear, that orange and red pattern effect there for the impulse engines. Then we have a target as your deflector, so the yellow and red there, and then the orange illumination at the back of it. More of that rusty orange shading for the hull material there on the underside. Engine trail wise, for some weird bizarre reason, we've got red warp nacelles and yellow impulse engine trails, which even with the correct engine effects wouldn't marry up at all with this particular shield. Next up, we're looking at the Tzenkethi Vanity Shield. So this is a very busy shield, as I normally comment upon. So first off, we've got the green, grey and black shading for the hull material. We've also got this carved pattern effect as well. Then we have this illuminated panel material, and I'll zoom in and you can see it pulsating away there. Then we have this white patterned sword collector effect. The white there of the nacelle colouring, and then the white there of the impulse engines as well. And at the rear again, we've got the white impulse engine effects there. Then we have this orange deflector pattern, some orange illumination there at the back of it, and again a lot more of that panel lighting effect with the pulsating lights on it. You'll see that the forced purple glow has actually been obscured on this particular shield. Then on the underside, again we've got more of that green and grey shading there, more of that illuminated panel lighting with the pulsating light effects. Engine trail wise, they do marry up correctly with the correct engine effects for the shield, so the white nacelle colouring and the white impulse engine colouring. Again, just missing those two banks of engines in the centre there. And last but not least, it is the Zhat Vash Vanity Shield, or the Army Camouflage Vanity Shield as I refer to it as sometimes. That's purely because of this green and sandy hull material with the pattern on it. Looks very much like an army camouflage. Then we have the red impulse engine effects there. We've got the green nacelle colouring there as well. Then we have this green and white patterned sword collector effect. There's some touches of grey shading there also. Then we have the red impulse engines at the rear. There's a green patterned deflector array effect there, and more red illumination there at the back of it. Again, on the underside, it's just more of that two-tone patterned hull material. With a bit of red illumination there at the rear. Then engine trail wise, it's the standard Federation one again. So it would be the blue nacelle colouring and would, or should be, the red impulse engine colouring. But in this case, it's just showing the two sets of warp nacelle colourings in this one. And that concludes the look at the Jem'Hadar Vanguard Support Carrier. I think the ship is a fantastic design. I do like the looks of it very, very much. It was picked by viewers during a live stream as being one of the ships I should get. So I got it. I thoroughly enjoy using it. It's just extremely frustrating from a visual perspective that, like most non-Federation starships in the game, the visuals just don't match up with the shields at all. It's either, as I say, by design, because the art team thinks that's what looks good, or it's an error that they won't correct because there's no financial incentive to do so, or they were given no guidance on what parts of the ship were what parts. So, for example, the wings, I would have said that should have been the nacelles, rather than having the nacelle colour along the compartments on the wing. Sword collectors are fine where they are, that's not a problem there at all. And the engines on the back of the ship, the 4 clusters there, great place for the impulse engines. I'm not sure why you'd have a deflector on the rear of the ship when it's supposed to deflect objects in front of you as you travel through space, but I'm sure there's some Dominion ingenuity that allows for that. So yes, so that was the video. So again, thank you all very much for watching. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, there's several links in the description of the video. So I have my Real Merch affiliate code there, which will get you 5% off your first order. I've also got my Blue Sky and X, my Twitch is there as well. Then we have the Bane Star Trek Online news blogs there, the STO wiki links there. In the future, I intend to have a permalink for the new STO official Discord that replaced I'll just call it the forums, rather than saying too much more about that. Then, for other content, I do have quite a list of other sources there. So we have Casual Sab, we've got Nick NB, MC Stu, we've got the Mutara Alliance, I've also got Thornburg Media there as well. So most are doing Star Trek Online, some have stepped away due to various problems within the game and them not being rectified. But there's quite a few that are still there. So if you haven't already, go and check them out, drop them a follow, drop them a sub, drop them a like. It helps everybody out. And that is it for this video. So thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next video or the next live stream.